Guess what, guys? We're back. We're back. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel.
Yes.
So, as you guys know, I'm Kelsey, and I have someone really special and dear to my heart that I have to stop biting your lip. I have to introduce to you guys. This is my husband, Kristen.
Hey everybody.
You guys have seen him featured throughout like the past vlogs and everything, but I don't think I've actually given him a proper introduction.
Well, come on now. Come on, proper introduction.
This is the man, y'all.
Uh-oh.
Stop giving me those eyes.
All right.
This video is basically going to be talking about all things postpartum that I was experiencing, and particularly when it comes to just being so discouraged and lacking confidence in who I was and like what it was that I loved to do, and just getting back out of the funk, or people like to call it depression, but I don't really think that I was really more so depressed. I think that I was just like doubting myself, but I guess that's like a form of depression. And who better to talk about what I was experiencing and those effects that it had not only on my husband but on our amazing son Jacob, who is going to be 10 months old, y'all, and I'm like,
that's crazy.
My baby is
That's
growing.
Crazy.
Who better to talk about that with than my partner in it? Like he was amazing throughout the entire journey, and I feel like it's so important not just to get my perspective and like just to talk about like how I was feeling in it and like how I came out of it, but the perspective of who helped me out of it like the most, aside from, you know, the Lord and everything, but how God really used him as a vessel to help me through it. So
nice. Yeah,
I know, you were amazing. Sorry, I'm like starting to reflect and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I was not gonna be able to do that. So having your first child. So I had my first child during the pandemic. Literally everyone was in quarantine. So it wasn't like we can like see our families as much as like we'd like to.
Right.
As you guys know, we live in a completely different state than our families. So that entire time just felt so not lonely, but it was just a time for a different kind of bonding. Like we were both entering into a new phase of life. Kristen was going to becoming a dad. I was becoming a mom, but I was experiencing it a little different. You know, like as you know, the baby grows inside the mom. So like you're experiencing body changes through your pregnancy. You're experiencing body changes after the baby. Like it's like delivered like immediately after. It's like a deflated ball is like sitting in your stomach. And then for months at a time, like you're going through like all these up and down weight changes, like your hormones are changing. Just so many different things were going on. And I was so excited all the way up until maybe like 2 days after we had Jacob.
Wow.
And I feel so bad for even saying this out loud, but I think that it's a normal thing, and like lots of women don't like to say it out loud, and because it just sounds like so socially unacceptable to say these things out loud. But it's important for us to share our story. So literally the entire pregnancy I was excited. Of course, like I was a little down about all of the restrictions concerning like giving birth during a pandemic and all the different things that like that, how that would weigh in on like our life introducing Jacob into the world. But it was amazing because Kristen was able to still be there, and that was like one of the most important things to me. And my mom came down from California, which was also amazing because I did not know what was in store, you guys. So how do you think it like went? Do you think that I like kind of like conquered it? Oh
man, you aced it. And that's at least what I think. I mean, no one would have told us that we were going to have a baby in the midst of a pandemic, first of all. So Kelsey having to go to hospital visits by herself because I wasn't allowed to go with her. Kelsey having to, you know, just conquer so much that you don't expect. I mean, women already go in with your natural fears anyway. You're you know, reading all these books, you're studying what the hospital is going to be like, you're looking at videos and stuff like that. But nobody can prep you for having a baby during a pandemic. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, I think Kelsey like knocked it out the park. You know what I'm saying? At least that's what I think. Yeah.
I think he really hit something on the head. Like you already go in with like these natural fears, just having a baby, just like when things were normal, you automatically go in with all these natural fears. But then like you put the pandemic on top of it, and then you put all these terrible vlogs and blogs that people are making that literally send your heart like racing to a heart attack.
Oh, and not only that, I mean, like we can actually kind of dissect the pandemic a little bit. That was in the brunt of the pandemic where like there was a natural panic going around the United States and around the world in general. So like there was a possibility that I almost had it, and we wind up getting it later on in the year, but there was a possibility I almost had it right at the top of June when Kelsey was getting ready to have the baby, so I couldn't even stay at home.
A week before I had Jacob, there was a scare where Kristen worked, and it was like a scare that like people were just breaking out with COVID, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like if Kristen gets it, he's not going to be able to be in the room, during the delivery, and it's like he won't be able to be around the baby literally for like the first 2 to 3 weeks of his life because his immune system is so weak, and he can't be around me because my immune system will be so weak. Like it was just like such a scare. So that was another thing. Like it was just so many different things, guys, that were sending me into a frenzy. But what I didn't expect was the frenzy that comes after the baby is born. Like you expect all of these like natural emotions of, oh my gosh, my baby. And yes, you have those moments, but you also have the moments where it's like, what the heck did I just get myself into? Like, oh my gosh, I cannot do this. Like, mom, take this kid with you. Like, I'm like, you know that you're the best person to take care of your child, but you also question so much about whether or not you're prepared mentally, whether you're prepared physically, whether you're going to be able to do it when that help goes home or when your husband goes back to work. Or it's just so many different things that go through your mind. And I recall it was Jacob was 2 weeks old, and I was just laying in the bed and I was crying my eyes out, you guys. Like I know that my hormones were all over the place because, you know, like your hormones leave the body whenever the baby is born. So like your body is still adjusting to get back to normal. But I remember Jacob being 2 weeks old, and actually it's probably like a week and a half. And my mom had gone back to California, and it was just Kristen and I, and Jacob was downstairs and he was crying. We didn't know then that he had a dairy allergy or that that was just like a normal thing, like we should just get used to that kind of crying. But it was like, one, he would not go to sleep, so that meant that we weren't going to sleep. And you hear that baby sleep, like they have the term sleeping like a baby, right? Jacob doesn't sleep, y'all. Well, he didn't sleep then. And I just remember like crying so hard, and I called my mom and I was just like, Mom, I can't do it. I can't do it. And she was like, Kelsey, you're amazing. You can do it. You can do it. And my dad's like, Kelsey, Jacob's gonna be fine. Close your eyes. He'll cry himself to sleep. Or like, you know, things that dads say. Shout out to my parents because they were amazing through this whole thing. I was just like, Mom, you have to come back. You have to come back. And sure enough, you guys, like a few days later, my mom like literally came to check on her baby because she seen that I was just going through like this whole funk of getting used to things. But before my mom could even get there, Kristen, you were just so amazing throughout all of it. Like my body was changing. You're still going through pains down there, like in the during that area.
Gotcha.
So you're still going through like all these different changes and healing, the whole entire healing process. That's a scare as well. Especially during your first child, because you don't really know like what to expect. So you don't know like, okay, is this amount of bleeding normal? Is this normal? Like what's normal and what's not? I also had like other things that happened during the actual labor that I had to like do follow-up visits and do like blood infusions and like just different things. So I was just going through like a lot. Kristen,
man,
you were just so amazing through all of it. So talk us through like what was going through your head during that time. Like how were you able to champion me and like bring me out of that, like reminding me constantly like that I could do it?
I you know, honestly, well, I think it really just started with my love for Kelsey. I love this girl to death. And so when you see somebody in pain, and I know you're giving birth, but like when you just see somebody in pain that you really love, there's this heightened awareness that gets like just comes over you. Like anything she needs, I'm going to do. It doesn't matter what it is, I'm going to do it. And so, you know, when, as Kelsey had mentioned, you know, there were some things that happened after the pregnancy where she had to make some visits and stuff like that. So when we were back home, you know, I just remember like there was this mode that just kicked in. I can't really explain it. It's just a mode of protect her, just make sure she's good, make sure Jacob's good. But more than anything, like there was this piece about Jacob that I can't really explain, but I knew Jacob was okay. Like even if he'd cry, there was just this overwhelming piece that I knew he was going to be okay. It was Kelsey that I was like, not worried about, but I just wanted to make sure she was okay. It's a new phase. It's a new step that you're walking into. And I didn't really care about anything else at that moment. Kelsey was my full priority, like making sure she's okay. If she needs help going to the bathroom, I'm right there. You need some water, I'm going to get it. If you need your feet kicked up, I'm going to go get it. You need this, I'm going to go get it. It didn't matter what it was. And so that's like the first part. How did I help champion you? Honestly, she's making me out to be Superman or some hero. And honestly, when September 16th, 2017, I said in sickness and health, I said my vows and I meant those vows. So for me, I don't really see myself as Superman. I just see myself as I'm Kelsey's man and I'm supposed to do this and I'm going to do this. When it came to the champion part, more than anything, I just believe in Kelsey. If I see Kelsey down on herself, or if I see that, she's not feeling the best, I know what Kelsey looks like at her best. I know I've been around her. And so even when you can look in the mirror and see yourself some way, I never change my view of how you look. And so even if you're viewing yourself one way and you're down on yourself, and not saying that Kelsey was, but just saying, even mentally or physically, or just waking up and you just don't feel the greatest that you. The woman that I kept waking up to is the same woman that I've always loved, and the same one driven girl that I fell in love with. So for me, the way that I championed her was just treating Kelsey as Kelsey was, but walking her through it as well. I know that it was going to take some time, but still, if you need help with something, let me help you. Or I had an opportunity. If you don't mind me saying, I had an opportunity to work on a couple of my.
What you saying?
Just some of the stuff that I was able to work on.
Okay.
I had an opportunity to work on a lot of projects in between this quarantine time, and I wound up releasing a single in January. Shameless plug. I just wasn't ready. I was able to release a single, but I would bring Kelsey in on those studio sessions and bring Kelsey in on certain things because more than anything, I knew like what she has to offer, even if she didn't currently see it in herself.
Yeah, you were amazing throughout like all of that. Like as he was mentioning, him seeing me as who I was, like who I am,
who you are, yeah,
not necessarily who I was in the moment. That was so important because there were times like not just at the beginning of my postpartum journey, but like even throughout, because you kind of like get the hang of things and you kind of like learn your baby. I don't want to say learn your baby because then that makes them like a project or something. But literally becoming a mom is a project. So you kind of like learn how to be a mom. You kind of learn their cries. You learn, okay, that's a hungry cry, that's a sleepy cry, okay, I don't know what kind of cry that is, let's call the doctor. Let's call my mom, let's call my mother-in-law. It was just like so many different things that you kind of learn, you kind of pick up on, you kind of like get in this groove. So even like in times after that or whatever, I'd still fall into this funk and it'd be like, oh my gosh, like what is going on in my life? Like I don't think that I'm still good enough to do this, or maybe because I'm a mom now, I shouldn't go into these avenues, which some things like in ways like you do grow out of things and you do kind of mature in different areas and you're kind of like, you know what, that's not the best thing that I want. That's not how I want to represent myself, or that's not what I want to get involved with. But ultimately how I wanted to be like as a person, like I was just so down on myself. Like I was doubting myself in so many different ways, like things that I know like the back of my hand, like literally people would call me or like hire me for like different things, and I'd still be doubting myself. And it's like, okay, they wouldn't hire you one if they didn't believe in you. They wouldn't put their money somewhere if they didn't believe in you. So why are you doubting yourself? Like, girl, you got this. And I'm saying that now, but in the moments, I don't know what was going on. And it wasn't as if I wasn't in my word. It wasn't as if I wasn't like believing the scripture, but it was like I was believing the scripture to be true for everyone else, but I wasn't relating God's word to myself. And it's like, no, like who I am, like it's not based on like how I feel. Like it's not based on how I feel. Like how God sees me is not based on how I'm feeling in this moment. So it was like I had to wake up every single day and like read a scripture, read a proverb, and like speak life over myself, like, and to constantly remind myself that, hey, this is just how you're feeling in the moment, but ultimately who you are, like your purpose, it's tied to how it's tied to you being delivered from this. It's tied to you coming out of this. Someone else needs for you to come out because you need to tell your story. You need to get back to doing what God told for you to do, what God has for you to do.
That's right.
And y'all, I didn't know how being a mom would tie into all that, but now the way God is kind of like clearing some things in my head. And now that I've kind of like taken a break during like all of this time and just really refocused, things are starting to look a lot clearer. And during that time, Kristen was amazing at being able to help me to remember those things and to remind me and to push me and to, I don't want to say like force me to do things, but to force me to do things, to remind myself like, hey, you still have this in you. You still need to birth things. Like there are still things in you that God has placed in you, Kelsey. Like you cannot just abandon everything about you and just become a mom, because guess what? Outside of a mom, you're still this, you're still this, you're still this, you're still this. Like you are still that person. You're just a mom as well.
Ladies, it's totally, and gentlemen, but ladies specifically, it's totally possible for you to give birth to something and abort something at the same time. And that's what Kelsey was doing. And I wasn't going to have it. I just wasn't going to allow it, because what God has in her is not only going to affect her, but it's going to affect everybody that she touches and that God has influenced her, has her influence over. And there is just so much bigger than us. God gives us the influence for his glory. And so if we just, get into that place of like, you know what, I don't really believe in myself, or I just can't do this. It kind of goes back to, I know this may sound more like the self thing, but I was a coach, so it didn't really matter. Yeah.
But yes, it was so amazing. Like during his journey, he was able to like bring me in on different things that he knows that like I'm really good at. Instead of hiring out someone else, he'd be like, hey Kelsey, you're pretty creative in this area, can you help me do this? And ultimately during those times or whatever, I was still in a funk, so I was kind of like, you can go and hire somebody to do that. And I don't really feel like, I don't think I'm the best one to see that, or just doubting myself or taking forever to get it done. Well, ultimately he didn't give up on me, and he knew that I needed to get busy. I'm a busy person. Like I love to be doing things. Like I have to be doing something. Like I don't know why, like it's just a thing in my family. I think we all are pretty busy people. Like I'm thinking about it. But he would
productive busy.
Yeah, we love to like just help people do things. Like I don't know if you guys notice, like my entire family are like just helpers or whatever. But he would bring me in on those things to remind me and to get my hands busy and kind of like to get that feel again. And it's kind of like, if you put your feet in 3 feet, you might go to 5. If you go to 5, you might go to 7. Go to 7, you might just submerge yourself, girl. You might just start loving it again. You might just start getting a groove. And y'all, I'm telling you, just so many steps of doing that, and just so many saying like, hey girl, what you doing? Or what's up, God's girl? Like, what's going on with the God's? We're gonna go, hey Kels, what are your plans for today? What do you plan on getting done today? What are your goals for today? Like just asking me questions like that. And to be honest, like when you're in a funk, like in your postpartum funk or whatever, those questions are quite annoying, because it's like, what do you mean what am I doing today? I'm watching your kid today. I am gonna be pumping milk today. I'm gonna be cleaning the house today.
That's so TikTok. Don't. I'm doing this. Don't.
What do you mean what am I doing?
Yeah, that's so TikTok.
Yes, so he'd like ask me questions like that, and eventually I started to like actually think like, what am I going to be doing today? Like what goals am I going to be doing today? So yeah, just little things like that. Or hey Kels, like let's do a Bible study together. Always, the word always helps to like just bring life back into the room. Like when you feel dead, the only place that you're going to get life is through the word. So having a husband that literally draws you back to the word and speaking the word over yourself, or encouraging me like when I didn't feel like it, like Kelsey, get up, gotta go to Bible study, like what are you doing? Those kinds of things, just so inspiring. So I wanted to introduce you guys to the man, the king himself.
No, the king. Kels, you said something that was really important, and I think this is all I have to say about what you just said. I think that for men, and specifically me, and just men in general, I don't know if you guys have gone through this before, but the champion that Kelsey is talking about, what she doesn't give herself enough credit is for the champion that she did for me. We're purpose partners. And so what we cannot do is find ourselves in a rut ourselves, and then our wives champion us, and literally we start seeing the fruit from her championing us, and then we don't give her the same respect or the same appreciation or the same support when she's in a rut and she needs her fruit to be watered or her seeds to be watered. And so for me, it was easy for me to not only jump in that role or do something, because I've seen her do that for me. And I think that a lot of times, men specifically, we may be threatened by our wife's success, or we may think that we're not going to get ours because they're going to get theirs. Nah, man. Let's get it together, you know. And she has been there so much for me, and so yeah, it's rewarding to hear that, because a lot of times I didn't know, but it's rewarding to know that.
You know, I like to withhold all of my compliments sometimes because, you know, if you tell Kristen too much, his head just goes.
Oh my Lord!
I'm
That's
just kidding. Actually,
always says.
It's actually me that will happen. Kristen's actually one of the most humble people that I met. Like, literally, like, I'm not even kidding. Like, you really are. But I'm not gonna tell you that because I don't want it to change.
She just did, but she's not gonna tell me. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, thank you so much, babe.
You got it, babe.
For just being a great husband.
Always will be.
Great friend. A friend before you have a husband, like that. Oh, that's so important. Like, so many people aren't friends before they're like husband and wife. So thank you for being my friend.
I got you.
He's giving me those eyes. Jacob might get a sister.
Oh my gosh.